a bit. It was determined that all of the inscriptions were sharp and clear, therefore interpreted to be modern. The one on top had metal residue in the grooves of the inscription, suggesting that a soft nail or pocket knife had been used to make the inscription. The second one down had no trace of metal, suggesting to them a dental pick or other hard object was used. Also, the cotton fibers and pitch that it had been wrapped in did not seem very old. Not very favorable results. Dr. Jennings of U of U called it a ridiculous hoax. But in all fairness, he had his mind made up that the entire story was concocted before he ever saw the artifacts. Dr. Matheny of BYU felt that the inscriptions were too short.
So look at all the blowback getting. You find the most important discovery in this century, and everybody's like, nah. And then because you're so passionate, they're like, maybe. And then a cave-in happens, and a lot of stuff is stolen. And now I don't know this guy. I don't know about his story. With all this information at their hand, like what happened? The Indians went forged this shit and buried it, and genetically mutate or create some bones of giants and put it down there. Come on, man. This is the land of Canaan with giants. That's why Canaan, when he got kicked out of, when he got sent here, he was like, but they will kill me. If there was no people here, then who was gonna kill him? He was scared of the giants.
Sharp and clear to be ancient, and said it was a clumsy attempt at fraud. Dr. Chessman was the only one to speak positively, and he maintained that they could be real. Cryptologist Dr. William Adams with BYU took a look at the linguistics. He states, I found so few clusterings that from a language point of view, I am forced to conclude that instead of meaningful script, the work was a haphazard scratchings of a forger. Sadly, the inscriptions were dismissed simply because the cryptologist could not read them. Now, all of these men went to a luncheon at the Winch home. The table was set with napkins, printed with registered cattle brands in honor of Mrs. Winch's late husband, who was a cattleman. When the cryptologist opened his napkin, he was dumbfounded. He saw what he thought were the very same characters from the tablet he had examined. He was convinced that Brewer's inscriptions had been copied from the local brands. Pictured here is the script on the right from the stone tablet in question, and a photo of the napkin. A close look at this napkin shows.
Look at this shit.
That these brands are far from local. They extend the entire length of Utah. Would Brewer really be familiar with brands from Randolph to St. George? Furthermore, the brands are, of course, variations of letters and symbols. Understandably, they will resemble characters from many languages. We do know, however, that there was some fraud. Brewer actually admitted to participating in the manufacture of items, particularly lead. His way of showing people what he had found without taking the chance on losing the originals. It was also an effective way to test the integrity of others.
See, this is where they get the fraud shit from. But anybody in their fucking right mind would do this shit. They would reproduce it with another material in order to show it, because everybody wants to kill you. Everybody wants to rob your ass. Come on now. Then years later now, oh, it's all forgeries. We've seen it. He created this lead. It was all created. Yet that was just the replicas in order for him not to get robbed.
If he loaned someone
because that's what happens when you don't follow the laws, statutes, and commandments. You got to worry about getting robbed.
And they never gave it back. He knew they could not be trusted. We should also consider it would have been relatively easy to use the stone forms from the cave to cast lead copies of the plates. Now up here, on the right, is the so-called gold plate. It was subjected to X-ray spectrograph analysis. The plate was not gold at all. It is brass consistent with the cartridge of a rifle bullet. Now, I don't know if this next one is fraudulent or coincidental, but that sure looks like Snoopy to me.
That's where you got
was unable to
Snoopy
get photos
from.
inside the cave, as I've mentioned. He removed plates and other items, and Bishop Merlin Nielsen covered the cost to have them photographed by Lucian Bound, who was a professional photographer for the church. Again, quoting J. Golden Barton, when he had completed his work, he mailed President David O. McKay a complete collection of the photographs. In return, he received a letter from the president of the LDS Church asking him to seal the negatives, which he claims to have honored to this day. Only Brewer has copies of the photographs. There were, however, two men posing as university officials who purchased copies of the prints. They weren't. They paid with a check, which did not clear, and Brewer never saw them again. By this time, Brewer was very disappointed and determined to have no further contact with BYU. He retained a respect for Dr. Chapman.
All right, so he was dealing with the Mormons and BYU, and they kept sending goons his way that kept robbing his ass, giving him fake checks, trying to take his shit. That's why he created these so-called forgeries, replicas. And then he was just disgusted already with the way people are and the type of blowback from this information. Didn't I do that one about Harry Hubbard? Wasn't he in the same predicament? People want to steal. People want to deny. People want to give him blowback. Huh? Come on, people, wake up.
But avoided contact with both church and university officials. Brewer's admission of fraud was understandably a setback for Chessman, Barton, and their associates, but they continued to support him in his efforts for many years. It is notable that other tombs and treasures were discovered in the surrounding area, particularly during the 1970s. Pictured here is an empty tomb south of Manti, believed by some to have been Brewer Caves. Recently, a friend of mine shares this story. While serving in the South San Pete Stake in 1974, a bishop was called to meet at the Manti Temple one evening. The bishops and stake presidency were taken to a corner of the temple lot where a chain link fence was being installed. One of the workers had tried to put in a fence post where a hole in the ground had given way. He noticed unnaturally stacked stones nearby and upon investigating, discovered an entrance to a cavern with steps leading down. The chamber contained the remains of a man and woman and many records upon tablets. The bishops and stake presidencies spent the night removing the contents of the cavern, which were later taken to Salt Lake, and a capstone.
All right, so Brigham Young makes a statement and says, "We cannot leave this land. Our prophet and saint Moroni chose this land on purpose." Fast forward. All these discoveries have been taking place on these lands. Then you get this story where they were putting in a fence and uncovered an ancient record repository with all types of artifacts. What they do? Collect all these artifacts and send it to Salt Lake and put a capstone so no one can go inside of it. Alright? That is why Moroni chose this place, because that was an historical site. Now, are you getting it? Almost every church that they have is most likely an historical site of yours. Just like every park you're finding out is an historical site of yours. Wake up.
Stones put over the entrance to the tomb. They were told never to talk about it, but this man said that he was no longer affiliated with the church and most of those who had been there had passed away, he felt that it was time that someone else knew about it. We went out to the area, and sure enough...
So we would have never known about it. Look, they put this capstone that's super heavy, and they put a fence around it. We would have never known if this guy didn't disassociate himself with the church. Now he no longer affiliated with the church. Now he'll speak out. Why? Because when you're affiliated with the church, you cannot tell the natives their history. You suppress it.
There are some shaped and stacked stones, as well as scattered debris at the site, matching the description. So this is what the spot looks like today, if it's the right spot. We have another eyewitness account by a man named Jason Stevens. Jason Stevens was working up on Chicken Creek near Wales several years ago when a man came into camp claiming that someone he knew had found 2 mummified giant bodies up there, all decked out. This man had been up all night looking for the tomb.
Mummified giant bodies, all decked out.
Well, Jason thought it was a lie and said so. But the next week, the man was up there again. And this time, he showed Jason a huge breastplate from the tomb that must have weighed 65 to 70 pounds. He mentioned the sword, but only showed Jason the breastplate. Now, the tablet in the photo here is purported to have been found on Chicken Creek, but I've not been able to verify that. It's still interesting to see. As we've seen, similar burials have been discovered, but now it's time to go back to